Wait for it to unlock, but right, I think it was your right index finger. I don't know.
Are we live streaming? Dan, are we still able to live stream tonight?
Mhm.
Are we able to live stream tonight? Okay.
Yeah, it should go.
Someone had just already texted. Right?
And you had to leave?
Yeah.
Okay, who gave me the chair?
Oh, well, I'm gonna get.
Is that you, Matt?
Hey, Jamie.
Was that Diana?
No, I asked the guys. You like it?
Should I give
Copy
them,
of it, the
should I
corner.
give them
Not
my
that
warm
hard.
fresh idea?
Put my steps in. right?
I don't know which one to give it to though.
Land on the right.
Is the meeting being live streamed?
It
Yeah.
is. Really gonna give it to him.
Is it? Okay.
Just go get a copy of it, because I don't even have a copy of it.
Is there a link online?
I like having the paper copy.
So the link is good on the website?
Yeah, but it won't directly to this video.
Hello.
It's like raining buckets out there. I'm soaked.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I got in just before.
Oh, did you?
At least it's not freezing, right?
Well, I was
So it's
thinking.
not
to
live.
This gets to that point
No,
where.
no, no. I have somebody asking
Yeah,
if
but not freezing rain.
Yes, okay.
and
Yeah.
where
I
the
don't want
link
freezing rain
is.
though. I used to. I haven't really the last few years.
Meeting videos.
Here.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah,
I did.
Hey, I
So-
watched
SRSD.
meeting videos.
Oh, yeah.
He popped in as I was
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
out. You checked
JJ, you're
the
like in
same-
stealth mode tonight.
Got to the bottom.
No?
Yeah.
Is it
Got to the
B?
top.
JJ,
Or stealth.
like you're in stealth mode tonight.
Yeah, I just saying, when
Yeah.
did you?
Snuck in here.
Yes, I could, but-
Well, I had my
Matt- Matt
Bronco
will get him
sweatshirt on,
in.
but I was like, yeah, maybe should
Really
switch out of that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
I go down any trail,
Yeah.
but don't make me.
Well, I would have liked being with you, Because I would race ahead,
Yeah.
stop,
Get that.
take a rest, and then I'd
Oh, you
race,
know what?
race ahead again.
Chinese with that. That's erasable.
Oh, that was my strategy.
Borrow your pen.
Really? I skied with this guy from Switzerland.
To.
He really
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It
Services.
was really icy and he was just like,
He's kind of double dutying it, so we
and
have.
I was skiing, I stayed up with him, but I was like,
We, I looked in our
it was
minutes
like,
and I
it
couldn't.
was suicide.
We,
Oh, yeah.
Could have
We're going to
Lost
nominate
it.
Dr.
Tonight,
Charles
yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
young and stupid.
Have you ever
To
skied in
Dr.
here? Have you?
Kennett.
Yeah,
Dr. Kennett, not the last meeting, the minutes. I-
Yeah,
oh,
glaciers,
Yeah, I thought we did Dr. Kennan on it.
did.
Innsbruck.
Yeah.
That's not in the minutes is what.
I couldn't find it on our website.
I missed
Searched.
Yeah, I was way up in the mountain.
I just wanted to make sure I had the right title for my exit minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's this
There.
little split.
Yeah, he was.
bench.
I think you just put in that Troy guy.
Diana, is that okay?
So I stopped, I said, I want
You had too many.
Diana,
the bench, just
was that okay?
a stunning. vista,
Yeah.
you know.
I feel bad.
This
We
guy
can work
comes
on
to
it.
The cabin, and he says,
Yeah.
I says, what do you got? He says,
Okay. All right.
he said,
I mean, it wasn't a hard no. It was, I'll get back to you. Yeah, yeah. See that, Rick?
That was initially a hard, your first.
He's gonna
response
have
was
that, right?
It still is,
He says, okay, comes back.
but
up.
maybe
No
a
for
little,
tomorrow.
little nicer in conversation
No for tomorrow, but it's a conversation.
for the future. Thank you, Heather. Perfect.
She does this for a
You guys
living.
are awesome.
right?
You guys.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Rick's giving me real-time feedback that was too firm and you're helping me to clean it up. Jeez.
Got that orangey.
We're gonna have to stop this little.
Jim,
episode
straight?
Falling behind the yellow
There you go.
circus.
We're good to go.
Yeah,
We can start.
exactly. I don't even know what
Feel
that
like
is.
a friend,
Saying yes,
Yeah,
sweet
yeah.
light. Oh.
That's fine. Let me
Yeah,
know when we're good.
Yeah, pen?
He's got some, they're all wrapped.
Those are gonna be our
No,
Christmas gifts.
I really, every meeting, he gives me a universe one.
Trying to get that name out.
Everybody takes care of me. I get my special chair.
Well, I've seen those showing up on eBay. It's not you?
The universe.
want it to-
Universe pet.
Reselling them.
Yeah.
We good? All right, thank you. All right, I'm gonna call the meeting of the Sanborn Regional School to order. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. All right, do I have any action on the minutes for November 2nd and November 17th?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Sorry. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, unanimous. Thank you. All right, manifest documents are going around. Nomination.
We have one nomination, Dr. Elizabeth Drole Childs for the position of principal of the Bakey School.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Unanimous. Great, thank you. Any resignations?
None.
Great.
Yay.
I know, right? Superintendent's report.
I wanted to thank everyone for coming out the other day. I hear that you can't hear me over the web if this isn't close enough. So I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out on Tuesday, the 22nd for the Thanksgiving dinner. We had a large number of first responders. We invited the Fremont, Newton, and Kingston Fire Department, Police Department, town offices, selectmen, school board members, budget committee members, and town budget committee members to come and have lunch, and a bunch of people did. And it was really fun. And it was nice to see everyone together. Jamie was in his glory. He got to serve pie. And Rick was in his glory. He got to shake hands and tell how much he appreciated them, which was awesome. And Dawn and Maura just kind of did what they usually do and walked around and chit chatted with everybody, which was really nice. So it really was a fantastic afternoon. And I just wanted, on behalf of the staff, to say thank you to the school board for allowing them that 2-hour break and to have a meal together. It really, the feedback from the teachers was A, that it was much needed in terms of timing. And B, it was greatly appreciated and meant a lot to them to be appreciated by the board. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I loved that the elementary schools, when they came together, my favorite part was watching them pull tables together and sit together.
As soon as they walked in.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
favorite part.
Yeah.
Was during the elementary school staff. That was
Yeah.
that was
cool.
really awesome to watch.
I think they're circling the chocolate pie.
Yes, yes, yes. And Jamie was out there doing his tray up.
It's good.
Yeah, it was great. I'm sure the other board members, but it was really nice to be there. It was
Great.
really nice to get to see and talk to the staff. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for being there.
Right. Do we have any committee reports tonight? All right, Heather, you want to start?
So I have a policy committee report from November 2nd. In attendance was myself, Mr. Baker, Ms. Bashaw, Mr. Angel, and Superintendent Ambrose. Called the meeting to order at 5:17. We approved the minutes from 10/5/22. We reviewed 5 policies for second read. There was no discussion, so we moved, Mr. Baker made a motion to move the 5 policies to the school board for second read by Ms. Bashaw. And those policies we've either already reviewed or will be reviewing EBB, EBBD, EHAB, EHB, and GBCD. And then we had policies for the first read at November 17th meeting, DJE, IHBAA, IHBA, and IHBAB. And IHBG. And with no other issues, we moved IHBAA, IHBA, IHBG for first read at the 11/17 school board meeting, which were moved to this meeting this evening. And our next meeting was supposed to be tonight, which was rescheduled to allow for an extra meeting for ISA. And I adjourned the meeting at 5:26 that evening.
Great, thank you. Right, Jamie.
Yeah, so we had a finance committee meeting today. I'll only give you the information about the budget transfer on that, but I'll have the meetings here. I'll read from November 2nd. So attending were R. Edelman, M. Bashaw, J. Fitzpatrick, M. Angel, T. Ambrose. Minutes of October 15th, 2022 were reviewed. R. Edelman motion to approve, M. Bashaw second, minutes unanimously approved. Mr. Angel reviewed his business administration comments on electrical rates. We locked in electric rates for 2 years with Calpine at 13.617 cents per kilowatt hour. Our old vendor was Constellation. Mr. Angel reviewed the inflation rates. New Hampshire currently is at 7.2%. State issued economic data for the month of October. Just a side note in these notes is he provided the information today. It's 6.8%. So it's come down a bit. The financial information, the cash balance in the bank of the district as of September 30th, 2022 was $5,665,282, which covers 1.8 months of funding. All towns are current with payment. Revenues recorded as of 9/30 were $28,550,026, not including the use of the fund balance used to reduce the tax rate of $1.175 million. Notable revenues for the month are preschool tuition revenue of $38,850, adequacy aid for $742,281, and school building aid for $234,606. Tax rates have not been set by the town, but that was imminent. And of course, the tax rates are out presently. Non-health insurance expenditures through September 30th were $7,360,654, and encumbrances were $22,206,659. The remaining appropriation is $2,194,080. Mr. Fitzpatrick asked about the difference in encumbrances month over month. Mr. Angel advised they were having difficulties generating a report. Fitzpatrick suggested run new POs since last download, and that should be the decline in the encumbrances. Mr. Angel stated payroll was in use as the systems is deleting history of the encumbrance once the payroll is run, so that becomes problematic. Mr. Edelman asked why we're not getting support from the vendor to be able to get the requested data. And Mr. Angel said it would happen. Just have to figure out the system. I asked that this be made a priority to work with the vendor and to elevate it. Mr. Edelman also asked who we can elevate this to within the vendor's organization. If we're not getting the support, it needs to be elevated. Mr. Ambrose agreed, and Mr. Angel to elevate. Note the unencumbered amount as of August 31st was $4,161,000. The difference of $1.96 million of additional encumbrances in September. Review of this difference will be on the agenda for the next financial meeting. Health insurance expenditures through September 30th, 2022 were $725,355. Encumbrances were $3,967,480. The remaining amount is $750,208. Fitzpatrick noted that in August meeting, we had a deficit in health spending, showing we were overspent already in this account, that there was an error in the data entry, and once corrected, there really was not a deficit. The above represents the current unencumbered funds, the $750,000. MS-24 key changes in the MS-24 or Fremont revenue estimate went from $4 million to $3.57 million due to enrollment decline for Fremont. Special ed aid was up $107,000. One-time revenue of return contribution from the New Hampshire retirement was $168,000. Mr. Angel then reviewed the revolving trusts. Special Education Trust Fund was $241,030. It dropped $206. Capital Improvement and Maintenance Trust Fund was $322,863, a drop of $237. Unanticipated Education Expense Trust was $250, a drop of $175. Unanticipated Utility Cost Trust, $75, a drop of $6.43. Facilities Revolving Fund, $142,027. That was up $11,667 for rental. Prior to September, we had paid out from the revolving fund $58,868 for the Wi-Fi upgrades that were previously authorized. Subtotal of $1,030,984. Add the contingency funds of $537,817. Total $1,568,801.79. Fitzpatrick stated that he would reach out to the trustee Maxwell as he understood there were bonds being purchased and held to maturity, and so we were curious as to why the negative returns. The custodial contract, Mr. Angel stated in process of developing an RFP for custodial contract will bring draft to next facilities meeting. Mr. Edelman asked if teachers and admins were asked for their input. Mr. Angel said, no, we're starting with other schools' contracts as a basis. Then once in hand, we will review that with teachers and admins. Manifest questions are reviewed. Fitzpatrick noted why his request for a book list to understand what books are being brought into the district. As was mentioned at the time, also as was mentioned at the time of the $125,000 paid for books 2 years ago, there were no books on the Constitution and Founding Fathers, and he wants to see that those are being brought in as requested. Mr. Ambrose noted that they have not been brought in, but he does agree that these books are needed. Mr. Ambrose asked for a non-public. The same was on the school board evening. Mr. Edelman motioned to do a non-public RSA 91-3:3-A:3. Letters C and K for negotiations, seconded by M. Basha. Roll call vote affirmative. We exited non-public, and then the motion to seal the minutes into perpetuity was made by M. Basha, seconded by R. Edelman. The vote was approved unanimously. And then just let me give you the transfer that we just did today as required to report to the board. We moved $28,150 out of salary, waiver, New Hampshire retirement, and health insurance systems. And we moved it into professional services, special education. Basically, this is a contracted head. And we're using the funds that would have otherwise been a in-house head that we didn't have available for this work. So we contracted the money out. The money's being moved within special education for that. That was approved unanimously by the Finance Committee today. Thank you.
Me?
Yes.
I'm next.
Nope, no. Are you next?
Sorry.
Okay.
Finance facilities?
No,
We
I
skipped
was
ICE,
I was just
but-
going in order.
Oh, okay. Oh, go ahead.
Matter.
Tammy?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. I was just going around this
Tough
way.
audience.
That's
Figured it
fine.
was easier.
Am I
Tammy,
next?
go ahead, yeah.
Okay, well, mine's short anyway, so.
Hmm.
Excellence in student achievement met on November 17th. In attendance, myself, Mr. Fitzpatrick, Ms. Dutton, Mr. Ambrose, Ms. DeRocher, Dr. Kennett, and Ms. Mitchison. Okay, the Department of Education here in New Hampshire, statewide performance data is still preliminary. They have not released the comparison data that allows us to, or other districts as well, to compare the progress sort of apples to apples. So that's not projected to be made available until mid to late December. So in the absence of this data, the committee requested a report of the internal metrics that we're using. We should have that at our next month's meeting. K through 12 grading work committee will begin meeting in January. Ms. Mitchison will convene a new committee to study and make recommendations for new requirements for a diploma with distinction. Ms. DeRocher presented a new curriculum review cycle document to us. K-5 literacy curriculum is proposed to be reviewed this year, and our subcommittee is going to have a presentation on that at our next meeting as well. Did we decide that our meeting will start at 4:30 or 5?
I don't think that we've decided that yet. We should talk. I think that we
Okay.
could start at 4:30, and I'm certainly willing to move the other subcommittee meeting if the other members of the board are comfortable with that. Just discuss it now. It's fine. We just need a little extra time for ISA. So we were wondering if we could have personnel not meet in December, just so that we can have a longer conversation. Would that be okay with you all?
Is there anything, I don't have a problem with it, but I think we moved it last week or 2 weeks ago. Is it going to be a problem if we miss another month?
I'll ask Diana.
Good thing she's here.
Didn't we?
I thought
Didn't we
met-
not have it last?
No, I think we did.
I'm pretty sure we I met. thought we moved something because of ISA,
Don't remember.
or maybe I saw an email that was talking about the
There,
next.
there was a conversation about having an additional ISA meeting tonight, but that didn't materialize, which is why Heather
Oh.
reported that they didn't have policy.
Oh, maybe I was thinking of.
Policy.
but-
I was thinking of policy. Never mind.
Okay,
Can't get my committee straight.
right. but you got the comfy chair.
I get to fall asleep.
Diana, will that be an issue, do you think, or?
I have 4 job descriptions to present and they're technology job descriptions, so I think that's.
Could you send those out so that they can review them, and maybe we could do 8 at the next meeting, just because if you've read them and everyone's good and there aren't a lot of questions. So that way we can keep moving.
Yep.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks.
Great, thank you, guys.
So our next ISA meeting will be December 17th, I guess at 4:30.
4:30.
Okay.
Ooh.
My turn?
Yeah.
Chomping at the bit.
The Facilities Committee met on Thursday, November 17th. The meeting was held at the high school and was called to order at 3:39 PM. Attending were Don Dutton, Rick Edelman, Jim Baker, and Business Administrator Matt Angel. In his business administrator's report, Matt stated the following. We are still awaiting product for the auditorium upgrade. His understanding is the wireless upgrade is complete. He's awaiting bids for repair or replacement of 4 circulator pumps at the Bakey School that need service. There's also a small roof leak that is being repaired. The maintenance staff repaired the concrete steps that are next to the emergency stairway. And at Memorial, he's investigating solutions for a large puddle that forms in the front of the building that freezes in the winter. Currently, the water flows down off the roadway onto the parking lot in front of the walkway at the front of the building. This is not part of the area that was repaved recently. At the high school, the stairs at the loading dock still need repair. Tests were done to determine the source of a leak above the library. The preliminary report is the water is getting in behind the flashing at the windows. Matt is awaiting the written report to determine what repairs are needed. At the high school gym, there are repairs needed to one of the retractable basketball hoops. Matt is looking at a plan for replacing failing exterior building siding. The plan to repair the window leak may be incorporated into that. There are issues with GFI outlets failing. Per the manufacturer, they need to be replaced every 12 years. Matt's team is working with the manufacturer to see if he can get the outlets at cost. Paving for widening the roadway behind the building to improve the drop-off traffic flow, weather permitting, will start on Monday. I don't know.
It's
if
done.
It's done? Okay.
Awesome.
The new replacement truck that was ordered last year has been received. Matt then reported on the trust and revolving fund balances as of September 30th, and the amounts were the same as those reported by Jamie in his Finance Committee report. Including the 2.5 contingency, the total September 30th balance is $1,568,801. Next, the committee discussed the status of a pending solar proposal by Resilient Energy. The prospect of installing solar energy to reduce electricity costs for the town of Kingston and the schools located in Kingston is being investigated by a committee. Matt has been attending those meetings. Resilient Energy was on the agenda to give a presentation to the Facilities Committee, but they rescheduled to December 14th meeting. A part of Resilient Energy's recommendation is to install the solar equipment on the roof of the high school. The committee discussed the idea of solar and expressed some concerns. Jim asked about hookup fees that are incurred, which can be substantial. He also asked about the end-of-life disposal, as he understands some materials in the panels are considered as hazardous waste when it becomes time to discard them. He asked that Resilient Energy include estimates of the hookup and current disposal costs. Matt discussed requesting proposals for custodial services. Currently, we are having difficulties fully staffing custodians. Matt stated he would provide the proposed RFP to the committee for review and comment before it was sent to vendors. Rick affirmed that he would like to have a committee review before it's sent. We discussed a timeline for the process. Matt would like to get the RFP out in December, followed by a vendor walkthrough over Christmas break. He would hope to receive proposals in mid-January for a decision by the school board, maybe in February. Next, Matt reported on the status of the LED lighting evaluation. Resilient Building Group will perform an audit that will provide the specifications of what we currently have for lighting and fixtures. Resilient Building Group is an independent company recommended by Unitel that does energy audits and does not sell lighting products. Though the names are similar, it is a different company than the one doing the solar proposal. The results will be provided to the committee. The cost for the audit is $3,950. Unitel will pay 50% of the cost. So the cost of the school is $1,925. Jim requested that the audit provide us a breakdown of what we could save and the cost and payback period on just replacing bulbs. Another breakout if we can benefit from changing fixtures on what costs that would be, and the payback period and the return, the same for controls. He suggested that we look at them as 3 different parts because the bulk of the savings will come from changing bulbs with a relatively quick payback. Also, the cost of the replacement bulbs is partially subsidized by the utility. If we can start saving money from that, a part of the savings could pay for any fixtures and controls we might benefit by. Rick had toured Bakey School and asked about the status of the locks that were in need of repair or replacement there. Matt was asked how many locks are involved, and Matt stated that they need to do an inventory of the locks to determine that. He stated it is mostly the windows facing the playground. Rick asked that it be placed on the next agenda. Dawn asked that a sample picture of the locks be provided the committee, as neither she or Jim have had a chance to view them. The meeting was adjourned at 3:35 PM. Full meeting can be viewed on the SAU17.net YouTube channel. The next Facilities Committee meeting is scheduled for December 14th at 3:30 PM.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a comment as we sit here and listen to the drip of the ceiling. Drilling hundreds of new holes in the ceiling to put solar panels up would be of concern because you're putting holes in the ceiling to attach them. So that's something that we should, in the facility committee, pay some attention to when they're talking their proposals. when they bring forward information.
That's already
Just-
one of my questions.
Okay.
Don't worry. Maura or Rick, do you have anything? No. Okay. All right. JJ.
From Miss Mulvey, National Honor Society is busy doing winter service activities. Shoveling is offered to those in need of assistance shoveling snow this winter. A winter holiday decoration is also being offered, putting up and taking down decorations for any winter holiday. And we're busy collecting yarn donations for making crafts such as blankets, hats, slippers, etc., which will be donated to local nursing homes when we're finished with that project. I also wanted to mention that we just inducted 4 new seniors into our chapter of the National Honor Society, so massive congratulations to them. From Mr. Harrington and the chorus department, Mr. Harrington wanted to shout out freshman soprano River Defio and their acceptance via audition to the NHMEA All-State Mixed Chorus with the 7th highest score in their room. He said that on behalf of everyone involved in the chorus program, that they absolutely congratulate River on their accomplishment and look forward to seeing the performance at the Capitol Center for the Arts on April 1st in Concord. From Mr. Parsons, math got fancy new calculators, and Mr. Parsons and the other math teachers were really excited about them. They're the fancy TI-84 CEs, which are required for certain classes, and they're really excited about it because they were much needed for those classes. There weren't enough of them, and so they're very excited. Students are already making use of them in classes such as CP and running start statistics, CP and running start pre-calculus, and calculus itself. They're very thankful and wanted to extend that thanks to you guys. Radium Girls went the school fall play, Radium Girls went really well. The drama troupe all worked really hard on that, and a big congratulations to them for pulling off a big success. It had really high attendance, and it turned out really great. And they faced a lot of challenges while making it, and it turned out amazing, and they overcame all of them. And so I wanted to absolutely shout them out. The Running Start senior English and composition class taught by Mr. Cass read the book called The Things They Carried, which is about the Vietnam War. And they welcomed Master Sergeant William Bill Dyer, USMC, for a presentation / discussion with the class. I have an image of it if any of you want to see it afterwards. Sergeant Dyer shared stories of serving in the Vietnam War and talked about his perspective on the book. It was a great discussion, and he was a very nice guy, and the class and Mr. Cass himself were very glad that they could host him and meet him. Yeah.
Do you have the names of the 4 students that were inducted into the Honor Society by any chance?
Yes, the 4 names are Kyle Brown, Luna Gilson, Sophia Borghese, and I will mention the other one in a minute. I wrote it down actually somewhere else, but I will get back to you on that.
No, I just thought it was important. to mention.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I also just want to say that for anyone that came on Saturday, the Sanborn Epping Hockey Craft Fair was amazing.
It
It was
was
probably one of the nicest craft fair I had
Yes.
ever been to.
Yeah.
So I know the hockey team, the players and the moms and dads did an amazing job on that.
They
this
Big-
past weekend.
Mm.
They
Can I just
really
mention a big shout out to Mr. Dawson for coming in on his holiday on Friday in the morning to allow them to come in early to set up. He really went above and beyond. So I just wanted to thank Mr. Dawson for doing that.
It's awesome.
Cleaned up.
I would assume the custodians cleaned up. And thank them as well.
It was pretty spectacular.
I did some good Christmas shopping.
That's awesome. Those hockey players definitely know how to haul stuff inside. I can tell you that. I
Oh,
was there during setup and they were all over it. They
Good.
were awesome.
Good.
They were great. All right. Okay, first public comment. I got no, I'm getting no head shakes.
Hello.
Hmm.
Thanks for being here.
All right, so we will move on then. Discussion of scholarship for Rich St. Hilaire.
Yes, we got a communication from Phil Coombs, who's now the road agent for the town of Kingston. And so I'm going to try to read it from his email. They're establishing an association similar to the fire department and police department. And they're going to try to raise $1,000 annually to help offset the cost for students who want to enter the trades upon graduation. And they want to establish this in honor of Rich St. Hilaire, who was the past road agent for the town of Kingston. And then they would also be open to assisting a current student in an established program. Okay, I felt that this was important as well, so I donated $100 towards the cause. All right, so I'm hoping that the school board approves this scholarship.
I move to approve.
Second.
Second. All right, any discussion?
Do we need to approve the scholarship?
You need to approve it, the acceptance of the scholarship. Okay, because sometimes you may have a scholarship that comes across the table that the school may not want to participate in. I've seen in my auditing career, I've seen some scholarships that the schools can't disperse the money for because it's not appropriate. This one's very appropriate.
This
Absolutely.
So can I have a clarification? We wouldn't be managing the scholarship. This is,
No,
it's kind of like
to allow
scholarship.
those kids to apply for it.
Yes, that's correct. So they would be applying through the guidance department,
Thank you.
okay? And they would be handing over $1,000 annually, and we would be passing that on to the student.
Okay,
Because the school manages.
We manage it.
okay. I think it's a wonderful way to commemorate his memory.
Yes.
As well. All right, all in favor?
All right.
Unanimous.
Mm.
Thank you. All right, approval of policies for first read, IHBAA, IHBA, and IHBG.
Any questions?
I didn't have any.
Do need
Did
a
you get the answer about the evaluation? Does the evaluator have to live in New Hampshire, be certified in New Hampshire?
I was not able to get that with everything going on with budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I do think that could limit,
So we should hold on that one.
because Maine and Mass are so close.
Yeah. I think it's
Which
a
would
word.
you like to?
IHBAA.
Thank
So
you.
in the policy, it says they have to be certified in New Hampshire. But since we're a border state, there's not a lot of psychologists, as you
Right,
know. So
yes.
sometimes-
And we did another policy, Tammy, we did another policy that was a special education policy. And originally it said the testing had to come from New Hampshire.
Oh, I remember that.
And we changed it to include Maine and Massachusetts because those exact reasons. It's too challenging sometimes. You have students that go to, professionals in other states because of where parents work, et cetera. So I think that would be important to get the answer on that to make sure. Good catch on that.
So we could hold on that, or we could do acceptance for first read. And then I
Right.
could come back with an answer and make an adjustment for the second read if we need to. That's why we do 2 reads.
Right, exactly.
So I would make a motion to accept IHBAA first read with the amendment regarding the certification
I'll
of the
email Will now.
psychologist. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. And then do you want to do IHBA and
Oh,
IHBG?
I would move the list if
Do you
everyone's
want to
okay
move all
with
of
it.
them for
Yeah,
first?
Yeah.
I make a motion to move the list for first read, approve for first read.
second.
approving this. Oh,
Just
just
for
We're
the
moving
second
it, we're
motion.
moving it to second read.
Oh,
I
gosh,
make a motion to move these 3 policies to second read.
Perfect.
Second.
Great. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, unanimous. Thank you.
Brain is not functioning.
It's all right. I get it. Then second public comment, that came up really fast. Still no takers.
If no one has anything, so the 4 names are Kyle Brown, Lily Gibby, Luna Gilson, and Sophia Borghese.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. JJ.
Congratulations to them.
Heather, what was that policy? Hang on. What was
IHBA,
BAA.
IH?
All right.
evaluation requirements for children with specific.
All right. So now we're going to move on to fiscal year 23-24 budget. And Matt is going to present. So I am going to.
Or Matt's gonna run the slides and I'll do the talking.
So I'm gonna. Get the heck
I'll
out
do
of
it
here.
from Matt's chair. Check 1, 2.
Starting to heat up now. So it could be a reflection.
Nice. Thank you for the reminder.
It's not changing, Matt.
Got so busy.
Yeah.
It's just
get it.
phew,
Oh, it's been a little crazy.
210 questions and
There it goes.
Staff that calls me, she never calls.
oh yeah,
There it is.
that's bad. Yeah, you know the ones that.
Once I can send a voice. that I need.
Yeah. Oh, the whole dog thing. He had called and I missed it. I was like, oh crap. All right, thank you very much. This is probably the shortest presentation I'll ever make. Kind of proud of that. Yeah, Don's like, yay. All right, so thanks for everyone at home who's watching. The basic gist of this is we made some adjustments to the budget based on the feedback that we've received, and we wanted to talk about those this evening because we are in hopes that the board will adopt a budget, and then, well, really what happens is the board recommends a budget to the budget committee. And so we're hoping that you will all come to consensus on recommending a budget to the budget committee, who's meeting tomorrow night. So the first option would be to recommend a budget, the budget that we presented, which was a default of 39,021,955, or a 4.51% increase over the FY 22-23, and an operating budget of, I'm sorry, that was the default. The operating budget was $38,987,060, or a 4.41% increase over the FY 22-23. We've put forward some information. We've received some information and we've made some adjustments, and we have a second option, which is to recommend the adjusted proposal presented this evening, which has a default that's at a 3.8% increase, or 38,758,474, and an operating budget of 38,726,592, or 3.7% increase over FY 22-23. So let me talk about what it really ultimately the administration feels the budget that we created is the budget that we recommend. But if you would like to lower the budget some in light of the recent economic times to ease the burden on our taxpayers, we did find some ways to creatively help to balance the needs of the students and the needs of the community. I do want to remind everyone that I am very conscious that the trust that we've built up over the last 5 years with the 85% of our homeowners who are not, do not have students in the schools, that is important to us. And we have a major teachers contract next fall. So I just want everyone to understand that, to me, the most important thing is passing the teachers contract next year. And we have to balance this budget in a difficult economic time of inflation with the need to maintain the respect and trust of the taxpayers. So having said that, we are recommending the following options to reduce the budget to help to balance things out. First, we looked at our openings. We have a variety of open positions, and in those positions, we have estimates for the salaries for those positions. And we felt that we would be comfortable if the board wanted to reduce $101,481. We did find in the budget slides that there was a clerical time overtime for $6,000. We felt that we could reduce that. We did receive in the last few weeks our healthcare rates. We had budgeted for 12% and they came in at 10.5 to 10.6. And so those healthcare rates lead us to a possible reduction of about $92,000. And then the Seacoast School of Technology, we did finally receive the tuition rates for this year for the Seacoast School of Technology, and they were much more reasonable than we thought they were going to be. So we would recommend reducing that $70,000. There was an additional $3,000 in some supplies for guidance that was added to the operating budget. Someone caught that there was a zero in that line, and we did not feel comfortable with that. So that's how we came up with the figure of adjusting the budget to $38,758,474 for the default budget and $38,720,592 for the operating budget. If I'm talking too fast, feel free to slow me down, but I just wanted to go through this quickly so that you all have time to deliberate. The next slide just shows the net difference. So our current operating year budget with the adjusted budget request. So the default is $1,419,119,121, and the operating budget is $1,381,239. I'm sorry, $1,381,239. Fist bump on that. All right, so that's a 3.7% increase. Okay, so the reality is, is that for me, I think that it sends a strong message to our taxpayers if we bring this budget in below 4%. And I think that if you go back to the previous slide, I did some calculations based on some questions that I received. And I just wanted to share in the previous slide, if the board chooses to reduce the additional tuition that's no longer needed for the Seacoast School of Technology, and they reduce the health insurance now that we have the full rates, minus the $6,000, we will be at about 3.99%, below 4%. And so I would encourage you to discuss whether or not you want to do those things. And then also would encourage you to discuss the reduction of the salary estimates. That's kind of they're all board decisions at this point. We've recommended a budget to you. Now you have to decide what you want to recommend to the budget committee and the rationale for that. But we thought that we would give you some options to discuss this evening to help figure out the balancing act that needs to happen here. So that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, Matt and I are here to help. Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit further about reducing the salary estimate of the vacant positions? So those positions will still be open to fill, but we're just estimating that they're going to come in at a lower.
Yeah. So what happens is we budget for about $53,000 for a professional staff position.
Yeah.
That's master's level 6.
Yeah.
We're saying basically we've budgeted at master's level 4 or 3. We've always budgeted at master's level 6 in the past, which is a pretty standard number to budget for because it's kind of literally right in the middle of the scale. You're going to get some higher and some lower. We're saying that if you wanted to get this budget to come in a little bit lower, that's an area that we could adjust without affecting staff because there are no staff cuts. As it says, no positions are removed. It's not even all out of one position. It's just, we took the global number of all of those empty positions, including custodians, paras, and teachers, and just said, well, we can trim this here. And then we just, we hope that A, we don't have as many open positions next year, and B, you will probably end up having hires that they swing. So it's hard to know anyway where it's going to come out.
Right.
The two areas that are tricky to,
But it's just an estimate. It could come in, we could leave it the same. It could come in higher, it could come in lower.
right. We went to areas in the budget to cut to bring this down that are estimates. Health insurance has estimates in it because a certain number of people, about a third, take full family. That's the highest level, but a third also are single. And then a third are also in the middle, roughly. And so there is an opportunity for upward movement and swing in health insurance, but we also have attrition. So we'll have people that are paid more who leave, and then we hire less expensive people. It really is virtually impossible to budget for an unknown student seated number for September, an unknown staffing level change for September. The budget is a map. And then we have to take what we have, and we know we can't spend more than that. So we're very careful once we get it.
So okay, so something you just said, we can't spend more than that. When we are interviewing for these vacant positions,
Mhm.
we turn away someone because we think that they're not going to fit in the budget.
No, never. I have never done that.
Okay.
We always hire the best possible candidate for every position, and then we just figure out the money.
Okay.
Have we lost candidates because we haven't been able to afford them?
Yeah, no, we've lost candidates because our pay scale is too low, particularly for teachers in the first 4 years of their career. So other districts pay more, but it's not because of the budget or the lack of money in there. It's because of our scale not being, we had Adrian lost a teacher to another district, I think Winnicott, it was a $10,000 difference in the pay scale.
And this 101,000, if I'm doing calculations right, is like 0.26%.
Yeah,
Entire budget.
yeah,
And
So-
so if we include this 100,000, we're still at 3.99.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jamie?
So I'm in support of all the items and the adjustments, and I'll give my reasons why. There's plenty of money in my review and my analysis in the budget. So we're not putting anything at risk. We're not in a situation where anyone's going to get laid off. We're not taking any headcounts out. There is money available to cover any contingencies that might happen. And why do I say that? Well, if I look at 2022, we had a budget of 36 million all set after the warrant article. 537,000 we withheld as a contingency. 1.175 million we gave back to the community. And this is for standard operations. There was no capital in the budget, so standard operations. We spent $250,000 on an auditorium. We spent $125,000 on a track. And we had encumbrances that carried over into 2023. So they did not benefit 2022. They're being used in 2023. That's a total of $2.587 million of available funding out of the operations budget from 2022, which represents 7.2% of the budget. So that is basically the launch point for a 2-year budget, for a budget cycle of 23 and 24. We had anticipated in 2022 that we'd have 1,526 students. We ended 2022 with 1,402 students. We're anticipating 2024 at 1,404 students. So I bring up this information to demonstrate that there is ample funds that we can take care of things that come up. So to the point that Mr. Edelman just made about losing a teacher or not being able to pay a teacher, there is money in the budget that you could do line transfers to be able to cover that within what the budget is today. So I support those moves. I also think, and we'll talk about this because they're both in there, the defaults. There's a number of different ways to do a default budget. And so I was reading up on the basic law, and Mr. Angel sent us a 140 page book on the basic law of budgeting, and also looking at what they do in the New Hampshire Municipal Association guidances. And then looking at what we do as an organization in creating a default budget. There is a lot of interpretive leeway, if you will, in creating a budget, all legitimate means of doing it. I think it would behoove us as a school board to define either through policy or some type of a direction that says, this is the way that we're going to do default budget so that we have that knowledge and administration has that knowledge. And more importantly, the taxpayers have that knowledge and they have comfort in the default budget is being calculated in a manner that has been reviewed and approved by the school board. And we do approve the default budgets every year. I mean, it's not that they're never approved, they're always approved. But there's a number of areas that we came across in these discussions that I think would benefit us as an organization to try to nail those down so that it takes away any source of potential confusion going forward. But the actual adjustments, I think, are all reasonable adjustments. I think they are consistent with the guidances that we have in the default budget rules. And I think that there is significant monies available even after these moves, to make sure that nobody is impacted in terms of headcounts, and that we are not impacted in terms of what we can pay people to get the best people in the job. And I think that budget will do it. When you add up all of these, I think you're at 0.68% difference on a budget. And the budget for 2024 is roughly $3.9 million higher than 2022 actuals. So in my mind and in my analysis, there is sufficient money to be able to absorb these with no detrimental impact on the students or on the staff.
Jim?
I'd like to look at kind of the direction that we're going in. And if you look at our enrollments in 2018-19, when I joined the school board, we had an enrollment of 1,601 kids. We're proposing a budget for 1,402 kids. That's a 12.4% drop in enrollment. New Hampshire overall has dropping enrollments. If you look past, I have a chart here that goes from 2023 down to 2003. But if you look at the last 5 years, comparing that to what we've done, the state has also dropped considerably. They're at 8%. We're a little bit higher. There's no particular reason why. Just it's happening all over the state. In that same time frame, our cost per student has gone from 21,000, and this is the cost per student dividing the budget by the enrollment, not the cost per student that the state gives you on the Department of Ed website. I'll talk about those numbers in a moment. If you take our budget in 2018-19, which was 35,148,000, divided by the enrollment of 1,601, you get a cost per student of 21,954. The current proposal, as adjusted, we have a cost per student of 27,579, a difference of $5,625, which is a 25.6% increase in cost per student during a time frame that our enrollment dropped 12.4%. So despite the work that's been done by the administration and the board to contain costs, we're still out of sync with the state average. The state average, if you look at the most recent state numbers are from 2021. They're a year behind. And if you look at the state average, the combination of elementary, middle school, and high school, the cost per student, and this doesn't include busing, it doesn't include transportation, it doesn't include food service and debt service. So that's why the number's a lot lower than if you divide the budget by the enrollment. So if you look at the state average, it's $18,434 per student. Comparing that to Sanborn, ours at for the same time frame is $20,678 per student. If we had the same cost per student as the state average, that would give us $3 million of unspent money that could go into teacher raises, CIP, and also money that could go back to the taxpayers. So when we set a fiscal goal number 3 of fiscal restraint, these numbers all factor into it. And if you take $100,000 and it's 0.2%, well, you've got $100,000 here, $100,000 there. Pretty soon you're talking, to quote the famous congressman, real money, or maybe it was Reagan, real money. So that's kind of like the big picture. We've also got to consider what is our competition for Fremont. Their cost per student, their tuition, if they go somewhere else, could be as low as $14,000 a kid. So we've got to figure this out somehow. And I think, this is a start, but there's a long way to go from here to get to where we need to be. To continue to provide the programs that we want to provide, and also to be fair to the taxpayers. And when Tom mentions the teacher went to another district and got a $10,000 higher pay, part of that is a historical problem of not passing budgets in this district and the impact on steps. So we have to consider all of that. It can't just be, would be wonderful to do this, it would be wonderful to do that. We really have to crunch the numbers here. So, and I appreciate the work that's been done here. Thank you, Jim.
I just have a quick question. Would the salary thing, the health insurance thing, and the SST thing end up going back to the taxpayers in the form of coming off of the next budget if it's unspent this year?
Oh, anything that's unspent at the end of the year goes back to the taxpayers.
So if they didn't make these adjustments, in theory, we're assuming since you would be removing it, you're assuming that you're not going to spend it probably. In the case of SST and the health insurance thing, you just got the updated thing. So in the end, it would come off of the budget after this if we just don't remove it up front now.
Right. There are two ways to look at it. Yeah. That's a great question, JJ. Thank you.
More?
I can get behind all of this. I think one thing that, and I can't speak for the board, but I feel like one thing that we all seem to be on the same page with and really desire is the teacher contracts. And I feel like that's something that we keep talking about. I guess sort of to Jim's point, I just want to make one comment though. I feel like it's a little smoke and mirrors of how many kids you have. You have a certain amount of overhead. So we shouldn't fool ourselves by if we have 20 more kids move into the district, the overall budget's not going to go down because you still need one principal for Bakey. So I think you kind of already have that is set in stone. My taxes aren't going to go down because we had 30 kids move into district and the cost per pupil went down. It's still the same cost. So I understand to a certain point, but I also think that we need to be aware that there's many ways you can make statistics say what you want them to say, but I'm okay with this. And I've also said before when we've spent some, we did the track and whatnot, that I was very well aware that we had to be fiscally responsible and this was going to be important to the taxpayers. So for that reason, I think now is the time to say, okay, we've gotten some things, let's get behind this so that we can focus on getting the teacher's contract passed next year. So.
I agree with Maura about the cost per student and the rate, the rosters and ratio. I am concerned about if reducing the salary estimates for vacant positions. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I was talking. I do agree with what you had just stated about kind of the smoke and mirrors, because you're right. Like even if 10 kids leave one school and it moves around, you still have to have the same overhead. I do worry about reducing the salary estimates or vacant positions. It has been tough to hire in this economy. And if we don't have that wiggle room, so to speak, to hire people, I do worry about that. But I do agree that we do need to lower the budget so we can focus on the contracts next year.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify a lot of, we keep talking about decrease in heads doesn't necessarily mean you can decrease the numbers that we spend. And a lot of that has to do with contracts, staff. But the other part of it is you can't eliminate teaching positions just because, say, we lose 50 students. Doesn't mean you can automatically just assume you can eliminate one or two teachers, because if you're losing 50 students and they're middle school, high school students, those teachers are specific for their subject. So it's not like you're just gonna get rid of a whole teacher for a grade where you're in elementary school. They're subject specific teachers. So it's not quite as black and white as numbers can sometimes make things sound. So just kind of want to put that out there too. There's a lot that goes into determining what the numbers really mean when it comes to overhead and student teacher ratios and all of that. I do think it's really important to be fiscally conservative. There's clearly a couple spots here that we can easily take money away from. I still go back and forth, like I haven't decided where I'm at on the $100,000 because I want to be able to make sure that we have the money there, but I also know that we have the ability to do line item transfers. We have other funding if we really get into a pinch and we need a little bit more money here or there. So I'm still a little bit on the fence on all three. I'm good for two, definitely. I'm still on the fence for third. Sammy?
So I'm definitely in support of all of these reductions. And I'm perfectly comfortable because $100,000 in a almost $39 million budget is we'll find the money for that. I totally, I do agree on the comments about statistics, but I certainly want to highlight that our cost per student matters a lot to Fremont, a lot. Right. So we have to be careful. We have to be careful not to let that number get any higher than we possibly can, because we really want, I think we all agree that we really want to retain Fremont. And, as Jim pointed out, our main competition has a cost per student and the tuition, figure that's just, hard for us to compete with. So we just really have to be careful to be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Still listening.
I think you're the last
Well,
one.
Okay, so I was prepared to vote on the budget that was presented. I met with the administrators that put forth their budgets, and I think, I'm not gonna quote, but I heard, these are the budgets we put forward. We can live with them. We would like more. There's other things we'd like to do. Dawn, you said something about, needs, right? I think I know I don't, but I think sometimes people forget, because we're sort of back to normal now, that our kids are far from normal. Okay, so let's not forget that $100,000 may be needed for a kid or a need later that we don't know about, because our kids are so far behind. So I'm okay with some of the things up there. I'm not okay with all of them. And that's where I'm at as of right now.
Jamie?
Yeah, I just want to expand on Don's comment of other funds. We do have other reserves. I think Jim and I reviewed those. There's 1.5 million in reserves. Clearly, we don't like to use reserves, but if we ever got into a situation where we were not able to provide services that were needed, that's what those reserves are for. And I believe the next discussion will be about warrant articles. And I think that we'll be asking for additional funding in those reserves on warrant articles also. So there is some means if there is something unforeseen. Again, my belief is that there's plenty of money even take care of unforeseens. But there is other funding available that could backstop concerns. And I just wanted to point that out.
So I think it's important because it is part of the budget agenda item. Matt Angel and I talked, and we are going to recommend adding money to one of the capital reserve accounts as a way to fund the CIP. And so we're going to draft warrant article language for that. That'll probably come to the board at the next meeting. And then we also think that we should probably add some money to the fuel, oil, and electricity fund that we created last year in anticipation of the markets being kind of volatile. We're trying to hold on to what we got. We're clawing through it, but it's not midwinter yet. So I'm not optimistic that fund is going to make it through this year. So we just thought that we want people to know that now that we have a CIP plan, we'd like the community to vote on starting to fund it. Right. And I mean, ultimately it has to happen. Some of the things have to happen eventually, but at least we could start building up some funds. So what we're going to do is, instead of attaching the funds to a specific project, we'd have them attach it to an amount that would go into the revolving account that then we can utilize later to fund with a vote of the full board.
Could we do a motion to,
You can do a motion, do anything you want.
Right. Make a motion.
should we, well, so it's, I'm gonna take a guess. The one that there seems to be no controversy on all of them except the salary one. Do we break it out into saying, okay, can we agree on all the rest and then take that one separately?
So yeah, a suggestion to go along with that, perhaps, maybe and I'll make it if people want to, but I won't do it right now because we're talking from your point. But I suggest we make a motion on all of it. If there's not the will of the board to do from all of it, then I think we go down line by line and vote for each one separately. Just as a process means of doing it. I don't know if that'd be acceptable to others.
Somebody can
That's
make a
fine.
motion and we can,
All right, so then I'll make a motion to accept the budget and the default as proposed in option 2 that the administration shared with us this evening.
Second.
all right, any further discussion? All right. All in favor? All right. That's Maura, Jim,
Oh,
Tammy,
Sorry.
Jamie, and myself. All opposed? Rick and Heather. Okay. All right. I don't know how my heart feels about it right now.
There will be money.
Ah, yeah. All right.
On my head.
Next meeting agenda, if anyone has anything. If anyone has anything for the next meeting agenda, please get it to Tom and I 1 week prior to the meeting.
Great.
Next Sanborn Regional School Board meeting will be held Wednesday, December 14th, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the library at the Sanborn Regional High School. The next Budget Committee meeting will be held on Thursday, December 1st, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the library at Sanborn Regional High School. All right. Do we need a non-public?
We do.
Okay, I guess we need a non-public. So someone like to bring us in for RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, letter C.
So moved.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote, Rick,
yes.
Maura,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Heather.
Yes.
Okay,
We have a keeper.
we will take a quick 5-minute break.
Thank you.
He's got to work again.
Uh,
It takes a while.
so